Okay, welcome back to Skyrim Scholar Survival. Our Argonian lass here, Blizzarasinge, is on a quest to read every single book that there is in Skyrim, as well um, as being on survival mode. So, try to get through the game on that. All right. And we had just finished reading some books in here, but we had, I think, at least 2 left to read in this. I think it's the Apothecary of Whiterun. We were on our way to the Jarl, but we have not gone there yet. All right, so our next thing, I will be reading these 2 books, and then I'm going to be moving on. I think I'm going to be stopping by, was it the Bannered Mare? Eating and then sleeping to level up. So that's what we'll be doing. Well, I think I'm going to go in every single place of Whiterun and read as much as I can before actually continuing on with the main story. As is my quest. Alright, so that's marked. So here we go. Pension of the Ancestor Moth. To be read by all novitates of the temple. The order of the Ancestor Moth is as ancient as it is noble. We nurture and celebrate our beloved ancestors whose spirits are manifest in the ancient ancestor moths. Each moth carries the fior of an ancestor spirit, loosely translated as the will to peace by Fioron, can be sung into the silk produced by the ancestor moths. When the silk is in turn spun into cloth and embroidered with the genealogy of the correct ancestor, clothing of wondrous power can be made. Adepts of our order are gifted with persistent powers. Is that am I saying that right? It's weird. The wisdom of the ancestors can sing the future into presence. For this reason, our order alone has been given the privilege to interpret the Elder Scrolls. These writings exceed even the gods, both Aedra and Daedra. Such insight into the inner fabric of reality comes at a price. Each reading of the Elder Scrolls is more profound than the last. Each leaves the priest blind for longer and longer periods of time. Finally, the last reading achieves a nearly sublime understanding of that scroll's contents, but the priest is left permanently blinded to the light of this world. No longer can he read the scrolls. This monastery is dedicated to the service of these noble members of our order. They now live out their lives with the ancestor moths that they so love. Their underground what is that word? I swear I'm encountering words I've never seen before in this game. Demesnes are well suited to the moths. They raise and nurture the fragile creatures, singing to them constantly. They harvest the silk and spin it into bolts of cloth. They weave the cloth, embroidering it with the genealogies and histories of the ancestors that spun the silk. This is their new life. As they tend the ancestor moths, so we tend the blind monks. While they toil in the dark, we serve in the light. They need food and water, we provide. They need tools and furniture, we provide. They need secrecy and anonymity, we provide. They need purveyors to sell the fruit of their labors, we provide. At one time, we also provided protection. Many generations ago, Gudrun came to our temple. Newly blinded by visions of what was to be, she brought with her new teachings. The visions of the ancestors foresaw the need of the monks to defend themselves. They train and practice the teachings of Gudrun constantly. They are masters of the sword and of no sword. They are the masters of the sword of no sword, the axe of no axe. As a novitate, you will learn the teachings of Gudrun. You will learn the way of the peaceful fist. You will learn to serve the blind monks. You will learn to provide. In time, you may obtain the peace and insight of the ancestor moths. Okay, that was weird. Alright, so last is Songs of the Return. Get that off. Songs of the Return. Volume 7. Oh, got it. Songs of the Return, Volume 7. The Tale of Jorvaskr. When at last the rightful claim of Sarthal has been retaken, driving the murderous elves back to their lofty cities, did great Ysgramor turn and let loose the fearsome war cry that echoed across all the oceans. The 500 who yet stood joined in the ovation for the victory and the lament for their fallen peers. It was said to be heard on the distant and chilling green shores of Otmora, and the ancestors knew their time had come to cross the seas. As the reverberations echoed out and drowned to silence, all looked to Ysgramor, who bore the blessed Wuthrand for his next commandment. With his lungs he bellowed forth the fury of humanity. He bade them continue their march, that the devious Mer might know the terror they had brought on themselves with their trickery. Go forth, he roared, into the belly of this new land. Drive the wretched from their palaces of idleness. Oblige them to squalor and toil, that they would see their betrayals as the all sin against our kind. Give no quarter, show no kindness, for they would not give nor show you the same. Our great forebear gave this order as he did not yet understand the prophecy of the twin snakes, that he would be fated to die before seeing the true destiny of his line. Hearing this, the circle of captains gathered each their crews onto themselves. From here they descended. We will go forth. They decreed, we will go forth. Let each ship's band make its own way, seeking their fates to the open sun. A night spent in feasting, the oath of the companions was sworn anew with each of the 500. So they still named their count in honor of the shields that were broken at Sarthal, swearing to act as shield brother and shield sister to any of our Atmoran line, were their fates to ever again entwine. As the red hands of dawn stretched from the east, so broke the 500 companions of Ysgramor, setting about their journeys, sailing now across the land with waves of stone and crests of trees flowing under their footed hulls. The first to break from the grounded fleet was the crew of the Jorvaskr, who had been formed of Ysgramor's closest friends. Their captain was known as Jeek of the River, so called by the Harbinger himself from their youths past in glory. When assembling their glistening hull, he sought out the labors of Menro and Manwi, who now bore the native timbers across this new land of Tamriel. Among their fiercest were Taisnal, who was named twice, and Ter, his twin, and shield brother whose girth was never spoken of to his face. There were others, too, in their band. Merksim the Walker, Brunel, who fought with his offhand, and Just the Smiler. These and others were sworn to Jeek, and they pushed forth into the shadows where yet the sun had not reached. Southwards they went, by beast and by foot, elves they fought, though none remained to tell what those battles entailed. The numbers of the Jorvaskr never faltered, so So shrewd were they in battle, with their minds as sharp as their blades. Once as the sun beat from its high home, Yonder the Tiny, the one who ran ahead, came over the hill to tell what was seen. Amidst a vast plain his eyes had met a monument of a bird, whose eyes and beak were opened in flame. When his brothers and sisters crested the hill, they too saw its glory, but they were afraid, for no elven settlement could be seen to the horizon. But this is not seemly, said Clywey, who went by Loat when hiding his face. Is not this wide land fit for harvest? Why have not the elves, vile to their core, seen to exploit and tame it? They asked of their elven captives, for they had many, what they found unfit about these plains. Yet even the captives who still bore their tongues could say nothing of the valley. They looked with fear at the winged colossus. And from their babblings did the warriors of the Yervasker learn that it was older than even the elves themselves. Of those who wrought it solid from its mother stone, nothing could be said, but it was known to drive a magic almost as old as Nirn itself, some remnant of the gods' efforts to render a paradise in Mundus before the shattering of Lorkhan. This first of many, this crew of the Yervasker, heathens and ancestors to us all, feared no stories or gods. Indeed, if there was something the elves feared, they would have it for their own. Thus began the labors once more of Menro and Manwi, whose eager hands again laid to the Atmoran wood, which had borne them all across the sea. And what was their ship became their shelter, as this valley became their purview until the end of all their days. Thus began the building of the great city, circled by the running of the White River, as brought forth by these beloved of Ysgramor, yet but 22 of the glorious 500 companions. So that is the origin of Whiterun. And that's how that ship essentially got up there where the companions are. Alright. Oh, hello. Hello. I don't know if I need to give you anything yet. I did make some potions, but I think I can hold on to them for just a little. You know what? Actually, okay, Arcadia.
Just about everybody in here.
Let me see if there's anything.
You look rather. Take a look.
Okay, let's see if there is any of these potions I made that I don't need. Sell that. Okay.
Come back anytime.
It was just that one potion. It was a combination that didn't really work too well. Alright, let's get us some sleep and stuff in the Bannered Mare.
Come on in. We got warm food, warm drinks, and warm beds.
Ah, nice. Do you got any books? Oh, there's a note here. For sale, one tamed mountain goat, able to carry a hefty amount of weight to the throat of the world and back again. Gives good milk. If interested in purchasing, see Halvar in Rorikstead. Okay. I'd like a pet goat.
If it's work you're looking for, Hulda's the one to talk to.
If it's work you need, how about chopping up some wood for the fires? I enjoy this work well enough, but I'm ready to retire. I've been thinking of selling the inn to Isolda. Anyway, what do you need?
Ooh, heard any rumors lately?
I assume you saw the Gildergreen? Big tree, all burnt up, in the middle of the Wind District?
Yeah.
It's part of the Temple of Kinnareth. People want Danica to do something about it, but I don't know what they expect.
Okay, heard any other rumors?
Have you seen that shrine of Asura? They say the Dark Elves built it after they fled from Morrowind. Sight to see.
Oh, where can I learn more about magic?
Magic is for the weak. Elves, I mean. They keep to that college in Winterhold. They know their place. Of course, there is Farengar. He might be the Jarl's wizard, but at least he's a Nord.
It's not.
I should have guessed as much. Your kind sticks to that college in Winterhold, as well they should. You'd never think to learn from a Nord like the Jarl's wizard.
That's weird. Looking for work. Got any leads?
Here, take a look at this. Some of the Jarl's men came by and left this bounty letter.
Ooh. Any bounty work I can help with?
Of course. It's all in this note.
Any other rumors?
People say there is someone in Riften that can change your face, make you look completely different. Do you believe that?
Any more work?
Of course. It's all in this note.
Ooh, I'm getting hungry.
If it's work you need, how about chopping up some wood for the fires? Take a look.
Ooh, apple pie. Baked potatoes, yeah. Boiled cream treat. Oh. Okay. Cooked beef. That. Pog fish. Chicken. Grilled leeks, yes. Loaf. We'll be loading up on food because I know I'm gonna need it later.
Anything else? Just let me know. I enjoy this work well enough, but I'm ready to retire. Of course. It's all in this note.
If it's work,
What can I get you?
Give me the latest gossip.
The companions? In Jorvasker? They're recruiting new members from what I hear. Here, take a look at this. Some of the Jarl's men came by and left this bounty letter. Hungry, tired,
Okay,
or
now
just
you
plain
get.
thirsty?
I was wondering how much stuff you were gonna give. Give me
Sure
a room.
thing. It's yours for a day.
Thank you.
I'll show you to your room, right this way.
You don't need to. I know where it is. It's just upstairs. Oh, that's a leisure. Huh. It's got a nice voice. Is any books up here? Books.
Let
Books.
me know if there's anything else you need.
No other books. There's a stove if I wanted to cook something. See if I can cook anything right now.
Sadia, wake up there. Yes, Mom.
Hello.
you want a drink?
What's on the menu?
Depends. Are you thirsty? Hungry? Both.
Is it just because I came in here you're like, she needs food? Actually, oh, I will take a salt pile so I can cook something later.
Now please, no more questions.
What do you mean? It's the second.
The guards in this city are all lazy and undisciplined. Things need to change. Commander Caius walks around Dragon's Reach like a preening rooster.
Hello.
I
Think you
could do
can go
his job
blade to blade with
blindfolded.
me? You'd be dead in 6 seconds.
You must really love to fight.
The heat of the battle is the fire that forges
Oh,
the
there's a note
strongest
there.
blades. It's an old Nord proverb. That, and a true Nord never misses a chance to test her worth.
Sounds like you've got a
You've
grudge.
been talking to those companions? Too hot-headed, they cried. Weak, pathetic cowards, the lot of them.
Why'd their companions reject you?
It wasn't my fault. I told them, over and over, that it was an accident. They wanted me to prove my worth. So they threw me up against a young whelp of a lad, hardly old enough to grow his first chin hairs. I guess they thought a woman wasn't strong enough to hurt him. I didn't mean for him to die. Why would I want that? I just lost control.
Think you can take me on?
And why not? I could beat anyone in this city, barehanded. 100 gold says I knock your hide to the ground.
Maybe later.
Ha! Snowback.
Later. I will fight you
Good.
later.
Chat time's over.
Letter from Marvin. Christopher, upon reading your last letter, I was deeply touched. You're right. I was angry, but now I realize my anger was misplaced. It's time to leave our disagreements in the past and rekindle our friendship. I'll be sending someone to fetch you and bring you to Riften. I wish to avoid a scene, so he'll be calling at night. Make sure you pack all your belongings securely, as the journey could be rather treacherous. Marvin Blackbriar. What are those other things that I got? I had some notes. Battle of the Champions. Okay, I read that one. Bounty. By order of Balgruuf the Greater, to all able-bodied men and women of Whiterun, bandits located in Redrun's retreat have been harassing, robbing, and attacking citizens and visitors. A reward will be offered to anyone who kills their leader. Faventus Avenci. Bounty, Restless Spirits. By order to all able-bodied men of Whiterun, travels on the road near Golden Hills Plantation are being terrorized by ghosts haunting the nearby farm. Anyone who is able to banish the ghosts permanently will be rewarded with the land rights to Golden Hills Plantation. Bounty for Crow's Tooth. Rumor has it that Forsworn raiding parties have been pushing further and further east along the Jarl Mountains. The arrival of Legate Fesendil has prevented further incursions, but they failed to apprehend their leader, Crowstooth. While Crowstooth has been separated from her forces, she is believed to have fled with considerable spoils. In an effort to put an end to this threat, anyone killing Crowstooth may claim her stolen loot. Mercenaries like infamous sellsword Bjormund Windstrider have been seen heading into the mountains beyond Darklight Tower. While they could be after the treasure, it is feared Crowstooth is gathering these forces for a renewed assault. We ask any capable warriors for their aid in dealing with this profound potential threat. And Urel. Okay. That's the good. Letter from I can't read. Letter from thing to all capable warriors. A group of bandits has stolen something of great value to my family's kingdom, the headman's cleaver, and fled to Skyrim like cowards. We believe they're remnant members of the Green Cap bandits who have been a thorn in the Queen's side from the day she was born. Our sources tell us that they're holed up in Lost Knife hideout, and as the Queen's strongest knight, I have been tasked with retrieving it. However, if I don't survive, I ask that you eliminate these bandits in her name. The Queen will gladly bestow the cleaver to the one who vanquishes her oldest enemy, Shogaraz Gro Batul. Missing merchant. By order of Ulrich Stormcloak, to all able-bodied men and women of Skyrim, a merchant by the name of Gunther Frostfoot has gone missing. He was last seen in the area near Trader's Post. Any assistance in this matter would be appreciated. Your Leaf. Alright, the book. Rissen's book on bandit attacks. Oh, it's like I'd like to read. Shoo. Come on. Roads have been unkind to this one, plagued by outlaws along the route from Whiterun to Marketh. Guards travel with Resend, yes, but they are ill-equipped to deal with ones such as this. They wield strange golden weapons and wear gleaming armor. Resed has read of such things only in stories. Their encampment is found just west of North Brittleshin Pass. Each time they set upon us, they shout, "The saints would like to borrow your wares today." The brutes steal mostly trinkets and oddities, no matter how cheap this one knows them to be. Then they allow Rysand to go on his way. Rysand has not yet fought back. While it has harmed this one's coin purse, it is not worth a time. It is not worth a life. Rysand has heard of another gang patrolling the roads further north, calling themselves the Seducers. They are known for their menacing dark armor. Skyrim grows more perilous by the day. They are known to camp along the road, west of Fort Gustav. This one would pay handsomely for any who help. Rysand fears for any who might come to harm at the hands of these worrisome pests. Alright.
Need some?
Alright, I think I talked to everyone. Except, the drum man.
The security in Whiterun is
I'm
terrible.
a bard by trade.
Shameful is what
Perhaps
it
you've
is.
heard of me.
Where'd you learn to play?
There's a whole college up in Solitude where they teach the arts. Song, lute playing, poetry. I studied there myself. Had to leave over a misunderstanding with a head mistress. Well, more a misunderstanding with her husband.
Okay. What do you do around here?
I'm a bard, trained at the Bard's College in Solitude. Wanderers like you should think about applying.
Okay.
It's the leaving that's hardest, I know.
Let you play. Continue. Alright, let's check out the room. I can take a snooze. Any books? No books. But we can sleep and level up. Let's get a good 9-hour snooze. 8.5 is usually what you want to go for. It'll go a little longer. It's 9. Right after midnight. Alright. What do I want to... Let's get our stamina up so we can carry a little more. Oh, my speech is high. I think I've been talking to a lot more people. What do I want? I mean, I am buying a little bit more stuff, so light my coin purse a little bit. Hello.
Ulfred, patron of the great clan Battleborn. A name I'm sure you know well.
Okay. Tell me about the clan Battleborn.
Battleborn is a name out of legend, sung in the songs of old and heard in deeds of valor for 100 generations. For Clan Battleborn they cry in the mead halls, first into the fray and last to quit their ale. We've got honor, wealth, and titles too, aye, and buxom women to warm your bed on a cold Skyrim night. Now, if that don't answer your question, then no words will.
Why the feud with Clan Greymane?
Money, you laggard. What else? It always comes down to coin. The Greymanes have deep roots in Whiterun, but so do we. Difference is, we're rich. And Vignar hates it. Oh, and they hate it too. All their big talk of pride and honor. And what have they got to show for it? Beggars' rags and stale bread. We've got the same pride, the same honor, and we've got wealth. No wonder they envy us.
About Clan Greymane.
Uncivilized pelt-wearing axe-draggers. It's a wonder they don't still live in a cave like those ancestors they keep boasting about. It's true, The Vignar Greymane and his lot are one of Whiterun's oldest and, depending on who you ask, most respected clans. I don't dispute that. But it's one thing to take pride in your lineage, and another to cling blindly to the past. What they call honor and tradition, I call ignorance.
Yeah. I don't know what argument I'm talking about, but what can you tell me about it?
Just one more thing the Greymanes want to blame on others. It's not my fault they turned their backs on the Empire, or their mule of a son raised arms against it. And yet, they want to heap the fault on my family's good name? Ha!
Alright.
You watch yourself out there.
Will do. It's night. It's a cloudy night, but the stars are nice. Eat something to fill up. Thank you. Hello.
Brigands I can handle. But this talk of dragons, world gone mad, I'd say.
Carrying a broom.
Life's hard enough with all these men propositioning me. But that bard is the worst.
Someone giving you trouble?
That bard Mikhail is begging for a dagger up against his throat, the way he goes on about me. I heard him boasting at the Bannered Mare, saying he'll conquer me as a true Nord conquers any harsh beast.
If I talk to Mikhail.
If you want to try, go right ahead. I don't think anything will get through that thick skull of his, though.
Maybe a dagger would. You get a lot of attention from them?
You've got no idea. Half the men in Whiterun have proposed to me. Some were even single. You'll never understand. No amount of flowers or honeyed words are going to change my mind. Right now, all that matters is my daughter Mila. No man's going to get between me and my little girl.
Aw, single mom.
Remember, fresh fruit and vegetables every day.
Flowers, 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 flowers. Yay! Picking flowers. Is that a glitch? I don't think that's supposed to happen. Hello. Oh, I don't have gold. This picks so much lavender. Alright, let's actually continue on with the quest. It's a little late, so not only am more in.
Potions, you should try Arcadia's Cauldron.
I'm gonna go complete the quest, and then I might need to wait a bit. At some point, I'm gonna go to the companions to start that Bell quest.
What do you need?
Hello, guys.
We cannot afford to act rashly in times like these.
Nothing?
My lord, please. This is no time for rash action. I just
What's
think
the meaning of this interruption? Jarl Balgrup is not receiving visitors.
Who's this then?
I have news from Helgen about the dragon attack.
Well, that explains why the guards let you in. Come on then. The Jarl will want to speak to you personally.
So, you were at Helgen. You saw this dragon with your own eyes?
The dragon destroyed Helgen. I last saw it heading this way.
By Ysmir, Irileth was right.
What do you say now, Proventus? Shall we continue to trust in the strength of our walls? Against the dragon?
My lord, we should send troops to Riverwood at once. It's in the most immediate danger. If
The
that
Jarl of
dragon is lurking in the
will view
mountains.
that as a provocation. He'll assume we're preparing to join Ulfric's side and attack him. We should not...
Enough! I'll not stand idly by while the dragon burns my hold and slaughters my people. Irileth, send a detachment to Riverwood at once.
Yes, my Jarl.
If you'll excuse me, I'll return to my duties.
That would be best. Well done. You sought me out on your own initiative. You've done Whiterun a service, and I won't forget it. Here, take this as a small token of my esteem. There is another thing you could do for me. Suitable for someone of your particular talents, perhaps. Come, let's go find Farengar, my court wizard. He's been looking into a matter related to these dragons and rumors of dragons.
Okay. Books! Everywhere! Books! Oh no. Oh no. Oh dear.
Farengar, I think I've found someone who can help you with your dragon project. Go ahead and fill her in with all the details.
So the Jarl thinks you can be of use to me. Oh yes, he must be referring to my research into the dragons. Yes, I could use someone to fetch something for me. Well, when I say fetch, I really mean delve into a dangerous ruin in search of an ancient stone tablet that may or may not actually be there.
Alright. Where am I going and what am I fetching?
Straight to the point, eh? No need for tedious hows and whys. I like that. Leave those details to your betters, am I right? I learned of a certain stone tablet said to be housed in Bleak Falls Barrow. A dragon stone, said to contain a map of dragon burial sites. Go to Bleak Falls Barrow, find this tablet, no doubt interred in the main chamber, and bring it to me. Simplicity itself.
Okay. Anything you can tell me about Bleak Falls Barrow?
An old tomb, built by the ancient Nords, perhaps dating back to the Dragon War itself. Ah, maybe you just want to know how to get there. It's near Riverwood, a miserable little village a few miles south of here. I'm sure some of the locals can point you in the right direction once you get there.
How do you know the stone tablet is in Bleak Falls Barrow?
Well, must preserve some professional secrets, mustn't we? I have my sources. Reliable sources.
Okay. What are the duties of a court wizard?
I'll put it simply so you'll understand. I advise the Jarl in matters of magic. If the Hold is faced with any threats or mysteries of a magical nature, I am called upon to explain things and suggest a course of action. Hopefully that answer will satisfy you. Good day.
This is a priority now. Anything we can use to fight this dragon, or dragons, we need it quickly, before it's too late.
Of course, Jarl Balgroof. You seem to have found me an able assistant. I'm sure she will prove most useful.
Succeed at this, and you'll be rewarded. Whiterun will be in your debt.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were already on your way to...
I need to do some stuff.
Falls Barrow.
What do I want to chant? I just have magic regen. What did he give me? He gave me something. Yeah. I don't have any soul gems though, so I can't use that yet. But I can. Oh, look at all these books. Alright, ahem. So I think I'm gonna... this might be a two-parter of just reading every book in this place. But at least it's gonna, you know, get rid of a lot of the ones I have that I need to read. Okay. Oh my god. Where to start? Let's do this one on the Nords of Skyrim. Okay. here we go. Nords of Skyrim. Nords of Skyrim, my people, my pride. Respected reader, my name is Hrothmund Wolfheart, and I am a Nord. But more importantly, I am a Nord born and raised in the land of Skyrim. I write this volume in the desperate hope that the rest of Tamriel can come to know my people and they deserve to be known, and understand this province for what it truly is, a place of uncontested beauty and culture. Some of what you know is undoubtedly true. Physically, we Nords are as an impressive, often imposing sight, tall of stature, strong of bone, and thick of muscle. Our hair is often fair and worn braided, as has been the custom for generations. Often we are swathed in the hides of beasts, for such creatures are abundant in Skyrim, and we would be foolish not to take advantage of such an available resource. Having read this far, you may be shocked at the strength of my words and the literacy of a northern savage. Aye, many Nords can both read and write. My father began my instruction in the way of letters when I was but a bairn, but did his father and his father, as did his father and his father before him. But accomplishments of the children of Skyrim are multitude, and go beyond mere wordcraft, for we are artisans as well, and through the ages have learned to manipulate steel the way a sculptor would clay. Indeed, I have seen with mine own eyes visitors from High Rock and Cyrodiil weep in disbelief as they beheld the blades wrought in the fires of the Skyforge, and honed to beautiful deadliness by the god-touched hands of Clan Greymane. But how can this be true, you ask? How are such achievements possible from a people who have yet to emerge from the muck and snow? Again, provincial bias clouds the truth. The cities of Skyrim are a testament to Nord integrity and craftsmanship. Chief among them are Solitude's seat of the High King and capital of the province, Windhelm, ancient and honored, a jewel in the snow, Markarth, carved into the living rock itself in ages long since past, Refden, nestled in the golden shadows of the fall forest, whence comes delicious fish and mead, and Whiterun, built around the hall of Yrvaskr, home of the most noble companions and revered Skyforge. And now, respected reader, you have the full measure of it. We Nords are everything you imagined, and so much more. But let not this work be your only gateway to the truth. Book passage on carriage or vessel, and make the journey north. See Skyrim with thine own eyes. See Skyrim as the Nords, since the gods... See Skyrim as have the Nords, since the gods first shaped the world. Very nice. I can actually take that book. I won't take it now, but I do want to compile a library. Just to have all the books of Skyrim as a little collection. Alright. Oops. Money. Alright, what else do we got? Let's go start left, down shelf, and then go to the right. Okay, next up, Alduin is real, and he ent Akatosh. Okay, Alduin is real, and he ent Akatosh by Thormgar, Ironhead, Proud Nord. As my Da used to say, Imperials are idiots. That is why I am writing this book. I never wrote a book before, and I do not reckon to write one again. But sometimes a man must do what a man must do. And what I must do is set the record straight about the god called Akatosh and the dragon called Alduin. They ate the same being, no matter what them Imperials might say, and how they might wish it to be so. My da was never one for the gods, but my ma was. She worshipped all the divines, and taught me lots of things. So I know a thing or two about Akatosh. Just as much as any Imperial, I know he was the first of all the gods to take shape in the beginning place. And I know he has the shape of a dragon. My da even told me the story of Martin Septim, and the things what happened when the gates to oblivion opened. Septim turned into the spirit of Akatosh and killed Mehrunes Dagon. Now I don't know about you, but any dragon that fights the Prince of Destruction is okay by me. Now I hope you understand the problem. Akatosh is good. Everyone from Nord to Imperial knows that. But Alduin? He ain't good. He's the opposite of good. That Alduin is evil through and through. So you see, Akatosh and Alduin can't be one and the same. Growing up as a lad in the Skyrim, I heard all the stories, told to me by Da, who was told by his Da, who was told by his Da, and so on. And one of those stories was about Alduin. But see, he was not Akatosh. He was another dragon, and a real one at that. Akatosh is some kind of spirit dragon, I think, when he bothers to be a dragon at all, and not a god living in some kind of god place like Oblivion. But Alduin is a real dragon with flesh and teeth and a mean streak longer than the White River. And there was a time when Alduin tried to rule over all of Skyrim with his other dragons. In the end, it took some mighty, strong heroes to finally kill Alduin and be done with his whole sorry story. So I got to ask, does that sound like Akatosh to you? No, Fred, no it does not. And so I, Thormgar Ironhead, do firmly say with utmost conviction that Alduin is real and he ain't Akatosh. Alright. So next we have the ruins of Camelzi. One second, I need some crosslight. Nice. Alright. The ruins of Camelzi. By Rollard Nordsin. One second, I need a swig of some water before I continue. I think at some point I'm also gonna... I want to go back and do Dishonored again, because that one also had a lot of books to read. I love the Dishonored world as well. With the acclamations of the Fellows of the Imperial Society still ringing in my ears, I decided to return to Morrowind immediately. It was not without some regret that I bade farewell to the flesh pots of the Imperial City, but I knew that the wonders I brought back from Raled Makai had only scratched the surface of the Dwemer ruins of Morrowind. Even more spectacular treasures were out there, I felt, just waiting to be found, and I was eager to be off. I also had before me the salutary example of poor Bannerman, who was still dining out on his single expedition to Black Marsh 20 years ago. That would never be me, I vowed. With my letter from the Empress in hand, this time I would have the full cooperation of the Imperial authorities. No more need to worry about attacks from superstitious locals. But where should I look next? The ruins at Camelzi were the obvious choice. Unlike Raled Makai, getting to the ruins would not be a problem. also known as the Cliff City, Kemelzi, lies on the mainland side of Vardenfell Rift, sprawling down the sheer coastal cliff. Travelers from the east coast of Vardenfell often visit the site by boat, and it can also be reached overland from the nearby villages without undue hardship. Once my expedition had assembled in Saida Neen, with the usual tedious complications involved in operating in this half-civilized land, we set out for the village of Morag, near the ruins, where we hoped to hire a party of diggers. My interpreter, Tuen Panai, an unusually jolly fellow for a dark elf who I had hired in Saida Neen at the recommendation of the local garrison commander, assured me that the local villagers would be very familiar with Kemelzi, having looted the site for generations. Incidentally, Ken Penny, as we soon came to call him to his constant amusement, proved invaluable, and I would recommend him without hesitation to any of my colleagues who were planning similar expeditions to the wilds of Morrowind. At Marog, we ran into our first trouble. The hetman of the village, a reserved, elegant old fellow, seemed willing to cooperate, but the local priest, a representative of the absurd religion they have here, worshipping something called the Tribunal, who they claim actually live in palaces in Morrowind, was fervently against us excavating the ruins. He looked likely to sway the villagers to his side with his talk of religious taboos, but I waved the Empress's letter under his nose and mentioned something about my friend, the garrison commander at Saida Neen, and he quieted right down. No doubt this was just a standard negotiating tactic arranged among the villagers to increase their pay. In any event, once the priest had stalked off, muttering to himself, no doubt calling down curses upon the heads of the foreign devils, we soon had a line of villagers eager to sign on to the expedition. While my assistant was working out the mundane details of contracts, supplies, etc., Master Urim and I rode on to the ruins. By land, they can only be reached using narrow paths that wind down the face of the cliff from above, where any misstep threatens to send one tumbling into the sea, foaming about the jagged rocks below. The city's original entrance to the surface must have been in the part of the city to the northeast, the part that fell into the sea long ago, when the eruption of Red Mountain created this mind-bogglingly vast crater. After successful navigating the treacherous path, we found ourselves in a large chamber, open to the sky on one side, disappearing into the darkness on the other. As we stepped forward, our boots crunched on piles of broken metal, as common in dwarven ruins as potsherds in other ancient sites. This was obviously where the looters brought their finds from deeper levels, stripping off the valuable outer casings of the dwarven mechanisms and leaving their innards here, easier than lugging the intact mechanisms back up to the top of the cliff. I laughed to myself, thinking of the many warriors unwittingly walking around Tamriel with pieces of dwarven mechanisms on their backs. For that, of course, is what most dwarven armor really is, just the armored shells of ancient mechanical men. I sobered when I thought of how exceedingly valuable an intact mechanism would be. This place was obviously full of dwarven devices, judging from the litter covering the floor of this vast chamber. Or had been, I reminded myself. Looters had been working over this site for centuries. Just the casings alone would be worth a small fortune, sold as armor. Most dwarven armor is made of mismatched pieces from various devices, hence its reputation for being bulky and unwieldy. But a matched set from an intact mechanism is worth more than its weight in gold, for the pieces all fit together smoothly, and the wearer hardly notices the bulk. Of course, I had no intention of destroying my finds for armor, no matter how valuable. I would bring it back to the Society for Scientific Study. I imagined the astonished cries of my colleagues as I unveiled it at my next lecture and smiled again. I picked up a discarded gear from the piles at my feet. It still gleamed brightly, as if new made, the dwarven alloys resisting the corrosion of time. I wondered what secrets remained hidden in the maze of chambers that lay before me, defying the efforts of looters, waiting to gleam again in the light they had not seen in long eons. Waiting for me, it remained only to find them. With an impatient gesture to Master Arum to follow, I strode forward into the gloom. Master Arum, Tenpenny, and I spent several days exploring the ruins while my assistants set up camp at the top of the cliff and hauled supplies and equipment from the village. I was looking for a promising area to begin excavation, a blocked passage or corridor untouched by looters that might lead to completely untouched areas of the ruins. We found 2 such areas early on, but soon discovered that the many winding passages bypassed the blockage and gave access to the rooms behind. Nevertheless, even these outer areas, for the most part stripped clean artifacts by generations of looters, were full of interest to the professional archaeologist. Behind a massive bronze door, burst from its hinges by some ancient turmoil of the earth, we discovered a large chamber filled with exquisite wall carvings, which impressed even the jaded Tenpenny, who claimed to have explored every dwarven ruin in Morrowind. They seemed to depict an ancient ritual of some kind, with a long line of classically bearded dwarven elders processing down the side walls, all seemingly bowing to the giant form of a god carved into the front wall of the chamber, which was caught in the act of stepping forth from the crater of a mountain in a cloud of smoke or steam. According to Master Arum, there are no known depictions of dwarven religious rituals, so this was an exciting find indeed. I set a team to work prying the carved panels from the wall, but they were unable to even crack the surface. On closer examination, the chamber appeared to be faced with a metallic substance with the texture and feel of stone, impervious to any of our tools. I considered having Master Arum try his blasting magic on the walls, but decided the risk of destroying the carvings was too great. Much as I would have preferred to bring them back to the Imperial City, I had to settle for taking rubbings of the carvings. If my colleagues in the society showed enough interest, I was sure a specialist could be found, perhaps a master alchemist, who could find a way to safely remove the panels. I found another curious room at the top of a long, winding stair, barely passable due to the fall of rubble from the roof. At the top of the stair was a domed chamber with a large ruined mechanism at its center. Painted constellations were still visible in some places on the surface of the dome. Master Arum and I agreed that this must have been some kind of observatory, and the mechanism was therefore the remains of a dwarven telescope. To remove it from ruins down the narrow stairway would require its complete disassembly, which fact no doubt had preserved it from the attention of looters. So I decided to leave it in place for the time being. The existence of this observatory suggests, however, that this room had once been above the surface. Closer examination of the structure revealed that this was indeed a building, not an excavated chamber. The only other doorways from the room were completely blocked, and careful measurements from the top of the cliff to the entry room and then to the observatory revealed that we were still more than 200 feet below the present ground level, a sobering reminder of the forgotten fury of Red Mountain. This discovery led us to focus our attentions downward. Since we now knew approximately where the ancient surface lay, we could rule out many of the higher blocked passages. One wide passage impressively flanked with carven pillars particularly drew my interest. It ended in a massive rockfall, but we could see where looters had begun and then abandoned a tunnel through this debris. With my team of diggers and Master Arum's magery to assist, I believe we could succeed where our predecessors had failed. I therefore set my team of dark elves to work on clearing the passage, relieved finally to begin the real exploration of Kamel Z. Is it Kamel Z, or I just realized, is Kamel Z, or is it supposed to be Kamel Third Era? I'm just going to keep calling it Kamel Z. I think it's actually Kamel 3E. Okay, so I hoped my boots would be stirring up dust that had laid undisturbed since the dawn of time. With this exciting prospect before me, I may have driven my diggers a bit too hard. Tenpenny reported that they were beginning to grumble about the long days, and that some were talking about quitting. Knowing from experience that nothing puts heart back into these dark elves like a taste of the lash, I had the ringleaders whipped, and then the rest confined to the ruins until they had finished clearing the passageway. Thanks, Stendar, for my foresight in requisitioning a few legionnaires from Sedanine. They were sullen at the first, but with the promise of an extra day's wages when they broke through, they soon set to work with a will. While these measures may sound harsh to my readers back in the comforts of civilization, let me assure you that there is no other way to get these people to stick to a task. The blockage was much worse than I had first thought, and in the end it took about 2 weeks to clear the passage. The diggers were as excited as I was when their picks finally broke through the far end into the emptiness, and we shared a round of local liquor together, a foul concoction in truth, to show that all was forgiven. I could hardly restrain my eagerness as they enlarged the hole to allow entry into the chamber beyond. Would the passage lead to entire new levels of the ancient city filled with artifacts left by the vanished dwarves? Or would it be only a dead end, some side passage leading nowhere? My excitement grew as I slid through the hole and crouched for a moment in the darkness beyond. From the echoing sounds of the stones rattling beneath my feet, I was in a large room, perhaps very large. I stood up carefully and unhooded my lantern. As the light flooded the chamber, I looked around in astonishment. Here were wonders beyond even my wildest dreams. As the light of my lamp filled the chamber beyond the rockfall, I looked around in astonishment. Everywhere was the warm glitter of dwarven alloys. I had found an untouched section of the ancient city. My heart pounded with excitement. I looked around me. The room was vast, the roof soaring up into the darkness beyond the reach of my lamp, and the far end lost in shadows with only a tantalizing glimmer hinting at treasures not yet revealed. Along each wall stood rows of mechanical men, intact except for one oddity. Their heads had been ritualistically removed and placed on the floor at their feet. This could mean only one thing. I had discovered the tomb of a great dwarven noble, maybe even a king. Burials of this type had been discovered before, most famously by Ransom's expedition to Hammerfell, but no completely intact tomb had ever been found until now. But if this was truly a royal burial, where was the tomb? I stepped forward gingerly, the rows of headless bodies standing silently as they had for eons, their disembodied eyes seeming to watch me as I passed. I had heard wild tales of the curse of the dwarves, but had always laughed it off as superstition. But now, breathing the same air as the mysterious builders of the city, which had lain undisturbed since the cataclysm had spelled their doom, I felt a twinge of fear. There was some power here, I felt, something malevolent that resented my presence. I stopped for a moment and listened. All was silent, except it seemed I heard a faint hiss, regular as breathing. I fought down a sudden surge of panic. I was unarmed, not thinking of danger in my haste to explore past the blocked passage. Sweat dripped down my face as I scanned the gloom for any movement. The room was warm, I suddenly noticed, much warmer than the rest of the labyrinth thus far. My excitement returned. Could I have found a section of the city still connected to a functioning steam grid? The pipes ran along the walls, as in all sections of the city. I walked over and placed my hand upon one. It was hot, almost too hot to touch. Now I saw that in places where the ancient piping had corroded, small jets of steam were escaping. The sound I had heard. I laughed at my own credulity. I now advanced quickly to the far end of the room, giving a cheerful salute to the ranks of mechanical soldiers who had appeared so menacing only moments before. I smiled with triumph at the light as the light swept back the darkness of centuries to reveal the giant effigy of dwarven kings standing on a raised dais, his metal hand clutching his rod of office. This was the prize indeed. I circled the dais slowly, admiring the craftsmanship of the ancient dwarves. The golden king stood 20 feet tall under a freestanding domed cupola, his long upswept beard jutting forward proudly as his glittering metal eyes seemed to follow me. But my superstitious mood had passed, and I gazed benevolently on the old dwarven king, my king, as I had already begun to think of him. I stepped upon the dais to get a better look at the sculptured armor. Suddenly, the eyes of the figure opened, and it raised a mailed fist to strike. I leapt to one side as the golden hand came crushing down, striking sparks from the steps where I had stood a moment before. With a hiss of steam and the whir of gears, the giant figure stepped ponderously out from under its canopy and strode towards me with frightening speed. Its eyes tracked me as I scrambled backwards. I dodged behind a pillar as the fist whistled down again. I dropped my lantern in the confusion, and now I crept into the darkness outside the pool of light, hoping to slip between the headless mechanisms and thus escape back to the safety of the passageway. Where had the monster gone? You would think that a 20-foot golden kind would be hard to miss, but he was nowhere to be seen. The guttering lamp only illuminated a small part of the room. He could be hiding anywhere in the gloom. I crawled faster. Without warning, the dim ranks of dwarven soldiers in front of me were flying as the monstrous guardian loomed before me. He had cut off my escape. As I dodged backwards, blow after blow whistled down as the implacable machine followed me relentlessly, driving me into the far corner of the room. At last, there was nowhere left for me to go. My back was to the wall. I glared up at my foe, determined to die on my feet. The huge fists lifted for one more final blow. The room blazed with sudden light. Bolts of purple energy crackled across the metal carapace of the dwarven monster, and it halted, half-turned to meet this new threat. Master Arum had come. I was about to raise a cheer when the giant figure turned back to me, unharmed by the lightning bolt hurled by Master Arum, determined to destroy this first intruder. I shouted out, "Steam! Steam!" as the giant raised his fist to crush me into the floor. There was a hiss, and a gust of bitter cold. And I looked up. The monster was now covered with a shell of ice, frozen in the very moment of dispatching me. Master Room had understood. I leaned against the wall with relief. The ice cracked above me. The giant golden king stood before me, the shell of ice falling away. His head swiveling towards me with triumph. Was there no stopping this dwarven monstrosity? But then the light faded from his eyes, and his arms dropped to his sides. The magical frost had worked, cooling its steam-driven energy. As Master Arum and the diggers crowded around me, congratulating me on my narrow escape, my thoughts drifted. I imagined my return to the Imperial City, and I knew this would be my greatest triumph yet. How could I possibly top this find? Perhaps it was time to move on, recovering the fabled Eye of Argonia. And now that would be a coup. I smiled to myself, reveling in the glory of the moment, but already planning my next adventure. Alright, that was a long one. It's my time. Alright, yeah. Alright, whew. So that's a long one, and I still have a lot to go. So yeah, let me get a better angle here. Alright. So yeah, I'm going to be, I think, doing a bit of reading for the next episode or so. Because I do want to get through these books before I actually go off on other missions and such. Which, it might take some time, but hey, that's kind of been the plan. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying this series so far. I do think it's going to be a lot of reading in the beginning, and then more so actual gameplay as stuff goes on, with some reading here and there. Because there's specific journals and other caverns and such. Okay, but yeah, check back in. I'll be going through the libraries of Whiterun Palace, or Dragonreach as it is. And it'll be like, as I said, a little bit a day, if I can. Alright, hope you're enjoying the series, and hope to see you guys again. Hope you guys are also all doing good out there. Alright. Take care, everybody. Ciao, ciao.